Hello. Welcome to Let's Talk Real Estate and Stuff. Welcome. Happy Friday, everybody. Carlos, you're sitting, which I thought was going to be. I thought you're going to have just audio only. Carlos had ACL surgery this week. How's it going, sir?
Very good. I'm solid. Best doctors in Florida. I'm chilling. Curious to see what Papa P's weekly gripe is.
Listen, bro.
With that,
I want to tell you a story. There was a time when my youth in my 20s where I was running marathons every week and I had ended up tearing a ligament in my knee. Did I go to the doctor? No. Did I self-heal? Yes. I couldn't move for months. Couldn't do shit. It was 6 months before I could really start moving. 9 months I was running again. Did I need to go to a doctor for surgery? My body, like Wolverine, self-healed. I remind my kids of this all the time whenever they want to whine. My daughter broke her femur in soccer. And,
you took her to the doctor, right?
Yeah, I took her to the doctor.
Okay.
But I let her know that in my day, I didn't go to any fucking doctors. I self-healed. And I told
what ligament was it?
Huh?
Do you know?
I don't actually know because I didn't go to the doctor.
Interesting. Yeah, that was definitely an option, and like we've talked about on the show. I think we all prefer more like holistic healing type stuff.
Yeah.
But trust me, I would have loved to not.
I had
have
no
surgery.
I had no health insurance.
Yeah, that was like me. I had Maryland health insurance. It would have been 30 grand out of pocket. Yeah. I'd be like, I'm not.
I had no choice. There was no going to the doctor for me. I had done it. My shoe was fucked up. I was like 20 miles into my marathon, and then I finished it. And I was like, that was the dumbest thing I ever did. I should have just like went home. But I was like, I'm going to just fucking walk this shit out.
Like a David Goggins story.
Bro, I was crawling to the, like,
so you finished the race?
I was like, it wasn't a race. It was just me out running. It was a personal thing. I was sliding my body on the ground for the first week or two, trying to get to the bathroom in my bedroom, like my bedroom and bathroom. I couldn't fucking move. It was horrible. I was living by myself at the time too. But it's okay, Carlos. Some of us need doctors. Some of us have the genetics to self-heal. I'm sure one day how old are you?
33.
Oh, that's it. I was in my 20s. I think there's something magical about the body of 20-year-olds that, like, you don't need water, you don't need rest, you don't need things. Your body just like, I will deal with this myself. When you're 30, yeah.
It's more so just that's the one ligament that doesn't reattach is the ACL. If I could have had the option of not doing surgery, I 100% would have, and that would have been the easier path because I was walking and stuff fine, doing everything. It would have just been like a few months probably until I could like jog straight and do other things.
Yeah.
So this is definitely more the delayed gratification play where it is just uncomfortable to do stuff like literally having to like pick up your leg, kind of going to the bathroom and stuff like that, like you're mentioning. But the ACL could have. Yeah, it's meniscus as well. So I can't. When you do ACL surgery, typically you can walk, but it's my meniscus as well that's torn. So I can't put any weight on my left knee for 4 weeks. So it's going to be an interesting adventure. So although self-healing is cool and preferred, this is definitely the more resistance route, at least in the short term.
Yeah, well, one leads to an excellent story. One leads to John. We're just going to ignore John. We're going to ignore John for a while he figures out what's going on.
You have some Carlos, to your whiteboard.
I hope you. Yeah, these are my Post-it notes. I got a lot going on right now with offers on mobile home parks. I had to verify some stuff on a mobile home park with the city. One of the things with mobile home parks is like they're all getting canceled out. So like you have to, and this one guy kept. Everyone loves to sell you on the dream, Carlos. This one guy's like, well, I got all this extra space in the back. I might not even sell it because I'm going to put in RVs and, I'm just going to add to the income. So there's always this potential. I'm like, I'm lapping it up. I really want to deal. I'm like, oh, that's a great idea. That's a great idea. One of the things of my due diligence is to call the city or county, see if it's even legal. So a lot of mobile home parks have become either non-conforming grandfathered in, like legal non-conforming, or they're just illegal at this point. Like you can't operate them, and you can't add anything, you can't do anything. So I called the city,
and because it's in city limits, and they told me that the guy pretty much you can't do anything else to that. It's if you can keep what you have, you can operate it, you can repair them, you can even swap them out within a certain time frame. But there is no adding RVs, there is no adding lots, there is no extra income. Um, that's it. It's a grandfathered in status, which is what most parks are, as I'm learning. But yeah, so I had to verify that because the guy's trying to sell me on the dream of extra, what I can do to his park.
Mhm.
Now I get to be the bearer of news and be like, bro, you can't do any of that shit. What you got is
Mhm.
God. Sell it to me.
I did see you mention something along those lines in a story post, an IG story post. Have you gone and talked to that guy or gal yet and told him?
Bro, I have been, me and this guy have been going back and forth since like what, April, May. It's like we talk once a week. He's a good old boy. He farms. So like one day, like I couldn't talk to him. He's texting me, I'm out with my cattle. I'll call you when I can. I'm like, okay. He was doing like a cattle run thing or whatever they call it. And so like we talk, and it's been a long drawn out negotiation. So since I found this out last week, I've called him twice this week. That's a lie. 3 times this week. Monday, Tuesday, and yesterday, and now I shall wait. We are finalizing our negotiations. He wanted my financial references, so he's calling all people. I made a list. Like I made like a seller finance pack.
Mhm.
So it's got like my bio and my experience, and then like a list of people who have given me money over my time. So I had to call people and like ask permission for them to be put on it. So I'm assuming he hasn't finished calling everybody yet. So, but that's it. And so no, I haven't told him about this yet. That was going to be my final papa.
That's your ace in the hole.
Yeah, like, bruh, here you go. Take my terms. I mean, we have everything finalized. He just wants more money than what I'm willing to put down. And I've told him, like, he keeps coming back to the honeypot, asking for more, asking for more, asking for more. And like, bruh, I'm overpaying for the park because it's seller finance. Like I did the numbers on this, so it's a 1.2 mil park. Because he's going to take like, what is it, 2 or 3% interest on it. But like the equivalent of what I'm paying in interest to him he's going to make like 1.45, right?
Mhm.
If you do the math at current interest rates, and I kind of did, like amortizing the same thing, it puts it at, and I forget, like a 700 to 800K park. And then that interest, like, you know what I mean? Like it stacks up to be the same. So like, and the payments and everything are the same.
Mhm.
And it's like, that's what I've tried explaining to the guy. Like, listen, if you go sell this without seller finance and a higher down payment, you know what I mean? Like somebody's going to be going and saying, well, if I'm putting 30% down or 25% down and I'm going to a bank and I'm paying 8.5% or whatever it is, I can only pay 700 or 800K for your park. And that's really what it's worth. Now I'll pay him the 1.2 that he said, I'll only sell if I get 1.2. And I was like, that's fine. Let's talk terms, and he's got certain things. So that's kind of where we've been stuck is like, I said, well, I can only give you 100K down. I started at 25 and he worked me all the way up to 100. Hey,
Negotiation.
Listen, bro, if you're not getting hung up on, you know what I mean? Like,
But also you got to pick and choose your battles too. Like if you're going to end up getting the deal with a higher down payment and you can still do it and the numbers make sense, like who cares at the end of the day?
Yeah, so like I'm working but now Carlos, he's got me at this point where like I'm at 100 and he wants this certain monthly payment that if I start paying more cash, my cash on cash returns go down, and then it's not, no matter what,
it doesn't make sense, or you can't pay people back, or
yeah,
XYZ.
100%. There you go, and that's the game we're in as investors, right? Like it's cool saying you own a bunch of pads or a bunch of units, but like if they're not making money. And it's sexy saying, oh, I got a 2% or a 3% loan for 12 years. Like that doesn't matter if I'm just fucking barely getting by. Yeah. And it's a lie when people think like you're going to just go in and jack rents up. Like that's not how this works. I jacked rents up a little bit on my one park and I lost a third of my fucking park. So, and that's cost me dearly of like money.
Have you gotten back to almost full?
Yeah, we're finalizing our final rehabs right now, but like Brittany's doing a great job of like refilling them. We filled in some Section 8 people. We filled in some regular people, truckers, stuff like that from the area who just need a place. So we've done really good in charging market rents too. So although we are vacant, we have some vacancies more than when we bought it. Our income is more than what it was when we bought it, and will be even more once we finalize. Like we just finished a rehab last week, got another one going now, and then we got 2 in the works that should be finished probably like August time. And then we have people on backup ready to go already. Background checks. Brittany's got background checks done on everything.
Nice.
So yeah, it'll be good, but I mean that's still, we lost out of 36 units. We turned over 12.
Yeah.
Once we saw over the course of 8 months. They weren't cheap either. Bro, we were replacing AC units like they're fucking Skittles. Like just $5-6 grand a fucking AC unit, just pop because this motherfucker before was putting them on Band-Aids.
Mm-hmm. Which is a lot.
Is it a full-on heat pump in a trailer?
Listen, dude. Yeah, it is.
Oh,
And
wow.
that's not what I pay in Florida. So my AC guy's pretty cool down in Florida because I stopped flipping, but I'd done so many flips with him that like he'll just tell me his pricing, and he's like, I just want to make like $1,000 off of you, like whatever. So I called him and I said, I was like, can you tell me, this guy's quoting me on a Goodman unit, 3.5 ton, whatever. What would I be paying with you? And typically I'm paying about $1,000-$1,200 a ton with my guy down here.
Yeah.
So if it was Florida, I'd probably be paying like $4,000, $4,500, something. And so he gave me the quote, and this was a while ago, and he said, I think it was right around that pricing of like $30-some hundred from the warehouse. And he's like, and here's what I would charge you. And I'm getting charged like $6 grand up there.
Mm-hmm.
And so I negotiated down. And then this past month, I checked pricing with 2 other AC vendors in the area to see if my current AC guy was still overcharging me. And I only got one that was $125 cheaper. But at that point, do you really switch vendors?
Right.
For $125 when your guy's Johnny on the spot, he may be charging you $125 extra.
But at least he's been reliable.
So like we haven't done anything. I'm just acknowledging that the Florida and Arkansas markets, what I'm paying is completely fucking different. And it's, I can only hope to get my pricing down, but like I called 2 new vendors. I let them know what was going on, that I own 36 units. They want my business, but like that was the best pricing I got up there.
What do you think that is? It's just they're charging more premiums up there? Are they getting less business and therefore want to seek more profit per install compared to Florida and its gazillion homes?
I don't know enough about it to make a statement. I don't know.
Come on, economics professor, explain this to me.
I don't know, man. Like, I have no idea. I'm sure they're making a pretty penny off me, but maybe their costs are different. I have no idea.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, it's wild.
So
I wasn't paying $6K in AC.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's heat strips. That's inside heat strips and outside condensers. The whole thing.
I didn't realize that they had outside condensers. I thought all mobiles were window units, but there goes my
Well, typically,
knowledge.
like, down here in Florida, we've been putting in, like, I used to put in package units in my mobiles down here, which is like an all-in-one unit that sits outside because there's no heat pump inside. Heat pumps are more expensive than the heat strips, but yeah.
Learn something new every day.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't want window units, bro. Like, especially if they're installed wrong, because then they'll just like
fall off.
Well, they'll drip down your siding, and next thing you know, like, it just depends on if they actually drain them and take care of them. And did they tilt them accurately? Like, I've seen them tilted in towards the house. Like the fucking bracket is like upwards and the AC is like this way, and all the condensation is dripping into your frame.
Not good. Not good.
So,
I saw an interesting graph this week. I wish I took a screenshot of it. It was on a Care All Team meeting. They have a guy over there named Cam who handles like all their data analysis. It's like a data guy. And so he was pulling data on the real estate like listing market.
Yeah.
And so the graph was, I think it was like maybe 2-3 years long, but it was the amount of realtors and then the amount of properties sold on the MLS. And it was interesting to me. Right. So
The
well,
realtors.
the realtors hadn't dropped off on this graph.
No, I
They were
heard like
continuing.
24%, yeah.
They were continuing to climb even through, like, I can't remember the latest date on it, but it was pretty current. But yeah, the realtor graph was continuing to climb, and it was like there's 300,000 more realtors than there were sold properties currently.
Yeah. That's an accurate stat. I can agree with that.
Yeah.
Because there's not enough land. And there never is. Because the majority of we've talked about this. You
Yeah.
can get me hyped up on realtor talk.
No,
But
yeah.
there's only like 5% of realtors that, I think I messed that up. Maybe it's 3%, but 5 or 3% of realtors that do the majority of the business, 87% of them fail.
Yeah. But it was interesting to me is like, are these people, there's obviously still new realtors coming into the market, because I do know that a lot of realtors have dropped off that came in during COVID, couldn't find success. I talked to somebody here locally, and he was like, when in COVID, it took me 3 months to get my license because there were so many people trying to get a license. When I renewed this past year, I got it back in like 3 days.
Yeah.
So like, I definitely know that it's different. But like, these realtors are entering the market. I'm like, have you guys not like done your research? Like, why are you?
I came into the market in 2009 when it was horrible. I made so much fucking money. I made like $250,000 my first year as a realtor coming in. And
so is that like, are we just getting a bunch of hustler realtors right now? Is that what you're telling me?
I think in any, and we're not in a downturn though, but like
Right.
in any downturn, I think is when you get in. And I just got lucky. I would have been just like everybody else had I gotten in 2006. Nothing would have made I'm not any smarter than them. I would have got caught up just like I just entered at the right time.
Yeah.
But luck has a lot to do with success. You just preparation, means persistence. But I don't know, man. We're not in, but like that listing thing. So I was watching, I keep my Bloomberg on and like my CNBC and stuff, and they had someone on from Realtor.com, and I was reading an article. Maybe it was Data Deli, like that guy. But they were talking about how pricing is still, even with rates going up, pricing is still going up as well, because although demand has gone down, and everyone agrees demand is down, but so has the available supply still remains compressed. So because they fell and are declined at the same approximate rate, right, that even though interest rates are up, the prices are still staying up because the demand and the supply is still teetering around the same kind of decline rate. And it's crazy to think that, though. It's crazy.
I was thinking, because I've been like looking at home prices, and it was interesting. Like there was a dip like 6 months ago, but now all the prices are coming back up and continuing to climb. But yeah, it's interesting because like homes are selling, right? Like if you list a home, they are selling. And they're selling still in not record time like they were in COVID, but not back to what we were predicting, where it's like you listed on the MLS for 90 days. Which basically means there's still buyers, but sellers are unwilling to change out their better interest mortgage.
Of buyers, although the buyers have left. Like there's a lower amount of buyers, but there's also a lower amount of sellers, so they're leveling each other out. I mean, what happened when I came down in like 2009, 2008 is there was no buyers and there was a shit ton of sellers, so prices were just compressed. Like I do think it's amazing when I look at these mortgages and like, because I'm always looking at houses, and it's like, fuck that, like that's like a $4,000 a month payment for that house, like, and I'm like, wow, like who's affording this shit?
Yeah, that's exactly what I think as well. I think multifamily housing is coming back.
But they're selling, bro. They're selling. That's the thing, is people are affording them. They're selling without issues. I sold that mobile, my last rental, I always, before, I think last year you probably heard on the show, I was always like, oh, I got like one more or two more. Like now I'm done. We're going all in on parks. That thing sold, and it's and that thing sold in like I don't know, like a week.
Yeah.
I saw no pun intended. I saw an interesting repost of an article in Wall Street Journal that said the title is "Buyers are getting home loans from an unlikely source: the seller of their house." High mortgage rates are making seller financing a more popular option for home buyers, real estate
Yeah.
professionals say. So it's interesting that there was a positive framed article about seller financing in Wall Street Journal. A few other quick topics that are somewhat interrelated was I guess the Fed rate hikes on Wednesday when they
Oh,
had
they
the
did raise
meetings.
again? I missed
Yeah,
that.
the highest
they
rate
were
in 20 years.
But that was expected. That was supposed to be
It was, yeah.
95% chance. Your boy Mitch McConnell had a little pause.
What the
Some
fuck,
other lady,
dude?
some other lady.
Listen. Let's pause for this. Just for all my haters out there who always want to leave comments and chime in about how like a right fanatic. I want to say that was absurd. Just like I make fun of Biden for this shit. Like, I think that we need to put a retirement age on some fucking people.
100%. 100%.
Like, and he's a Republican. I'm not defending him. I think that motherfucker needs to be plucked out and dropped in the old folks' home. I looked it up. He's like 80 some years old.
Yeah.
Why the fuck are you 80 years old? Why do you even want to be doing this at 80
Right.
years
Why
old?
are you not saying I'm ready to retire? I'm done. Like, is it just like you want to hold on to power?
You just suck into that fucking power so much.
And they have so much money. They have to have so much money. Like,
Yeah.
They
do. The insider trading is fucking crazy, dude. It's just fucking crazy. Brittany says it's like in our comments that it's like he had a mini stroke, which maybe he did. But again, that only furthers my point that we need that's why we need to have some type of forced retirement age of our politicians. And I'm not saying it's got to be at 60 or 65.
I
think we can all agree that 80 is like completely fucking pushing it. Like, bro, please go relax on your farm. Just go do some shit, dude. I don't know. I saw that. I saw Greg Simpson make a post about that, and I was like, is this real?
Yeah.
You know, and then I went and looked at it, and I looked at his age, and I was like, this is just like, get this fucking guy out of here. And that's like, dude, and how old is Biden?
He had a line too. I didn't know. I don't know if you just said it. Something about, did you hear his cancer line or something where he like misspoke and said they have a cure for cancer now? Please let me find that. And I'm not bashing. My favorite we've talked about on the show is Kennedy.
Yeah,
I like him.
Yeah, he's tough to listen to though.
You're right. You said before his
voice.
His voice, man, that is.
I still don't agree with all of his policies, but like I think he's a breath of fresh air just in the political space. But I'm still going for my man Trump. You know, I love him. I love me some MAGA. I don't care what people say. Fucking giving hope to all people. But there's got to be a retirement. There's got to be a retirement age here.
Agreed.
Even if you're like in office when you turn 80, like if that's the age we're all picking as like a unanimous vote, then fine, you can finish it out. But like you're done, dude. Like there is no re-election for you. Like you're gone.
I mean,
I think it should be a little bit sooner than 80, but yeah.
You got to wonder how they're operating. I mean, like obviously they have staff doing probably the majority of the work, and it's like how cognizant are they of what the responsibilities actually are, and like how aware can they be, doing, the important job they should be doing.
You gotta ask yourself: is it them? And maybe Mitch is like, I don't want to be here. I want to quit. But the people that are pulling my strings are making me stay because they can't control the next person. That could be it too. 100%. But I don't know. But then I look at some older generations of people who are in their late 60s, early 70s, and they're pumping, dude. And so like I think there's a fine line, and although I think we have a health problem in the U.S. Absolutely. I also think that I think we have a wide health problem of just what we eat, what we do, exercise, all that. But I think as technology increases, I think there will be the people who actually care about that can live longer and be healthier. And the 70s, I think being in your 70s, I don't fear my 70s like I used to when I was younger, right? Like you think like, oh, 70. Well, I used to think 30 was the end of it. And now I'm 38, but like now I'm like, oh, my 40s and 50s. But I think the 80s is still pushing it, bro. Like,
you need to be sitting on a farm by the time you're 80.
Yeah.
Chilling with life.
Yeah. And Biden's 80. Mitch McConnell's like 81. Trump's 77, but and he's still moving along, but he's not the healthiest person. Like, he's extremely overweight. But like, he doesn't stop. He's still moving. So I don't know. I
Still
don't fucking
golfing.
know.
Yeah.
I don't know how he does it.
And that's what I like about RFK. Now, I'm not a Democrat, but like RFK, he's out there fucking just jacked, just fucking, and you respect that because it's not easy.
Yeah.
And he's just pumping fucking bench press on like Instagram
Shirtless,
reels,
yeah.
just shirtless, and that's a refreshing sight for a leader. Like, you have to feel
It
confident,
really
like,
is.
Yeah. So I may not be a huge fan, but like, I respect that. Like, that's come on, dude.
It is interesting. I mean, like, there's definitely a movement of like every person's body should be accepted. But as you look to like judging somebody who, has power, you kind of say like, right, like you can go from like Donald Trump and be like, man, that guy is overweight. And we have seen via videos what he eats. Like, what does that say about a person? Right. And then you got Biden, who like,
he was healthy.
He's healthy, right? Like we don't know exactly what it is, but seems to be a healthy individual, but definitely some verbiage splits. And then you got RFK on the other end of the extreme where he's like just pumping iron. And it's interesting, like how that, like, you judge somebody based off of that. I mean, it's honestly judging. And then you start to relate that to, well, how do they handle everything else in their life if they don't
Why is it judging? Why is it judging? Has our society become such a group of pussies that if you're fat and overweight, it's offensive to be like, I don't want you to be my leader?
Avoid that conversation.
And I'm just saying, I think it's a crock of shit because all through time, we wanted fit and healthy leaders. Now, granted, there are some cultures where being
I was about to say being big is
there's 100% some cultures who are like that, and I'm not speaking of that, but generally, you wanted fit leaders to help you survive, and generally, the fitter you were, the healthier you were, the longer you would survive or be able to lead and protect. And now it's like we got 80-year-olds just limping along, and and we're supposed to, and just obesity is supposed to be acceptable, and I don't think that is. I think there's a point where you have a higher respect for somebody who's in shape. Not that you're judging someone who's not, but it's a respect level because you know how hard it is to be able to do that, right? You respect that. You're like, man, it's not easy at my age to do that, at 60 or 70 and to be in shape. I respect that. He's got something, and I want that as my leader. And that's the thing, is like, and listen, go ahead.
I think you're right. Like, if you look at all the members of Congress, most people that are elected to office, how many of them are overweight?
Yeah. Bro, even our health officials are. Have you seen
the non-elected officials are the ones that are overweight? But if they're elected officials, people are obviously like biasing towards somebody who resembles a fit person because they therefore believe. I mean, I think
some of them, but a lot of them are not in shape, John.
I'm not saying like
a lot of them
iron.
are what we would call skinny fat.
Right. Yeah.
Skinny fat can be very deceiving in clothes. It's not until you take the clothes off that you see the man boobs. And you're like, bro, what? That's deceiving. That's happened many a times where I'm like, oh, that dude's kind of in shape. And then like you're in the gym, you're like, I wasn't expecting that. And Brittany put down that Putin is in shape. Listen, I don't know about Putin today, but I've seen some videos of Putin like back, like,
riding
and you're afraid of him, and you're like, that motherfucker decapitates somebody. Like, I don't want to fuck around with that. Like,
but then when you're like the North Korea leader, and you just like rules of world with an scientist, he can be pudgy.
Yeah, and you can't say anything or else you die.
Right, you're dead.
Yeah. He thinks he's
not an elected official. See, that's the difference.
But again, if it's not about like, if you circle that back to real estate and you say, okay, well, if I had a choice of who to mentor me or who to be my boss, right? Like, who do I want to go work for?
Yes.
Yeah. I'm looking at someone and I have two choices. Somebody who lives that lifestyle of, okay, they're healthy, they have a great family life, they're successful, they're smart, they're educated, they're bettering themselves, whether it's journaling, reading, whatever it is, versus somebody who comes into the office is extremely overweight. Yes, they have money. Maybe they're eating junk. Like, who do you want to be your mentor?
Mm-hmm.
And I think majority of people, I think today is all leaning towards, I would rather have that fitter person because I'd rather be like that. Like, I'd aspire to be that than the other person.
Yeah.
I think there's way too much information out there to be nowadays for us to deny what McDonald's, what all these foods do
Oh
to
yeah.
us.
I mean, that's the problem really with
Yeah.
America is like
It's our
foods,
diet.
It's diet, what you can quickly get access to, even what you can buy in the grocery store, what it costs.
Look at this. My wife sends me an Instagram thing the other. I thought I was drinking something healthy. Apparently, you can't trust shit. So she sends me a reel where it's like you got to read these ingredients, and like I'm like, okay, it says coconut water, coconut puree, then there's sugar, vitamin C, absorbic acid, gelatin, and gum. And I guess I just ignored that. And this guy's going into how bad this brand is, and I'm like, I can't buy.
What was the
anything.
bad ingredient in there?
So apparently absorbic acid is not good. The sugar additive and the gelatin gum is like I forget what they call it, like a combiner or like a something. So there is just pure organic coconut water out there that's all you're supposed to buy.
Get the Harvest.
I think that's it. That was the brand
pink
he
one.
said.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the pink one. That was with the. But here's
I don't like
thing.
coconut water, but my wife drinks that.
I love coconut water.
I just assumed because it says coconut water, not from concentrate, right? Like I felt comfortable buying this, and it's how deceiving are what they're allowed to say on our stuff here in America versus in other countries.
Mm-hmm. It is crazy the difference, like products, how they can market in different countries, what they have to put on their label.
Allow it?
Because
Putin just made it illegal.
Because
he just made it
America.
illegal to make anything with GMOs in it.
Did he really?
Illegal.
That's impressive.
100%. Like, come on, dude. Like, Russia could do it, but we can't. It's fucking Russia,
crazy.
bro. Like, what the fuck?
All of these companies are like, most of them are American. This is where all their profit is. And there are so many, what are they called? Lobbyists in DC. Yeah. I mean, the political problem is where it all really stems from.
That is interesting though. You really have to dot your I's and cross your T's on everything that you get. Like, for example, I always would get, because in general, I do tend more towards like a high fat nutrition overall. So I love having like organic grass fed heavy cream. Like I'll put that in smoothies or espresso in the morning. Whole Foods brand used to just be one ingredient, just organic, pasture raised, grass fed.
Not anymore.
Since Amazon bought it.
Then like 3 months ago, I noticed I was gonna order it online, and I was like, why does it have this gelatin gum in it? Like, something else. It's like an unnecessary.
It's all of it, dude. Like, so we don't buy shredded cheese anymore. We didn't know that shredded cheese has that non-congealing stuff in there. So now we're buying blocks of cheese. Like everything. It's just it's wild, man. And that's the stuff is like with today's knowledge, like in your ability and technology is supposed to make us be better. So it's like you should be better. And I think we expect better out of our leaders, out of our bosses, out of our mentors. And I think there's a certain limit on things. I don't think it's judging. I think it's just honestly, dude, listen, you want to be fat ass, be a fat ass. No one's saying you can't be fat.
Right.
But don't sit here and try to tell me that is what it's supposed to be.
Right.
Like, I'm not like.
Human body's not meant for that.
It's not meant for that. Doesn't mean you can't do it, bro. That's America. We let you do what you want. Stop trying to normalize it, motherfucker.
What do the rate hikes mean in the very immediate future, or maybe like the back half of this year for real estate?
I think it's going to make them. I think it's exactly what's been happening is going to happen. I think we're going to see a little bump in rates. I think things are going to slow down a little bit, but I think the demand and supply are still pacing each other. So I think people are still looking for houses, dude.
Yeah, always.
Like, and I think there's this hope that. And I do believe that the economy itself is struggling, and I think rates are going to be coming down over the next year. Maybe not, and I don't mean as of today through the next year, but I mean like 2024.
Yeah.
Like maybe Q1, Q2, I'm hoping. And I think people are just saying, fuck it. I'll buy the house now, and then I'll refi later on when I'm down at 5%. but we need a home and I'm moving and this or that's happening.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I'll have more equity anyway, so, it'll be really worth it. And so I think people are strategizing. I think that's what realtors are pitching, I guess, because I don't think a lot of buyers aren't as savvy as that, but I think realtors are pitching that.
Yeah, just be house poor for a year. It's just going to be a year, and then you can refi.
Mm-hmm.
As long as you don't have to move.
Yeah. I do think, as the economy continues to struggle, we'll see more and more sellers struggling as well. So I still think it's a great time to be an investor. I definitely think the shakeup is still going to continue to happen.
I think it's a phenomenal time to be an investor.
Yeah.
I mean, especially in my industry, going into mobile home parks and commercial.
Oh, yeah.
I think there's going to be a lot, I was listening to this podcast and I think there's going to be a lot of and I'm not going to say I think, but I have heard and I agree that there's going to be a lot of people with resets that can't afford it. Mm-hmm. I just, I think I said the last time, I can't wait till I'm at a point to where I could buy directly from a bank, a portfolio of distressed parks. I think that those things are going to happen.
Yeah.
And so it's not just at this level. I think it's at a bigger level too.
Yep.
I'm still spending $400 walking into the grocery store, $300 to $400 every week in the grocery. Prices are insane. Gas is still crazy. There's affordability. I know my local utility company is just pushing for another hike in electric rates. They just put it out in the paper that they're pushing for another hike. And it's everybody's raising prices.
You have to, yeah. So it's a massive economic cycle. Hopefully it will start to come down in 2024.
But even if that comes down, unless demand goes away, that just pushes prices higher.
Right.
So that doesn't help anybody.
Well, if inflation goes down, it would.
I don't think I think inflation doesn't happen ahead of a rate decrease. So rates would go down, prices would stay up, inflation would be trailing, the inflation decline would be trailing behind it.
Correct.
So sellers are just going to look at it as I could get more money for my house. Mm-hmm. And buyers are going to be shit, houses are more expensive than they were before.
I was more talking about groceries, but not home prices.
Well, I don't know, dude. What if they keep burning down fucking chicken coops and fucking train derailments? No matter what way you look at it, dude, we're just fucked no matter what. They just keep hitting us from all angles.
All the time.
I'm about to hop onto one of these aliens that we know are real now and be take me back to your home country.
What was that? I saw something briefly.
I didn't hear any alien news. What was the alien news from the week?
Oh man, I don't know. There's somebody in the right area of the world of knowledge got under oath and admitted that the government has and knows of extraterrestrial beings, has evidence of it, actual bodies and actual technology, and has known this and has dealt with it. He has known many people who have encountered these things up in the sky, all of this stuff. And it was under oath. And everyone's well, we've all known this to be true. I think any rational person understands that there's life on other planets other than us. But it's just nice to hear that it's true and that the government has we've made movies about it.
Mm-hmm.
Area 51,
putting it right in our face.
Yeah. But now
they've been preparing us for it.
Yeah. And it's well, no shit. I mean, what can we do with it now? What are they going to do? Are we going to have a museum of aliens now?
That would be cool. I'd like to see that.
Be? And what do they look like?
Not like us.
I don't know. But apparently I don't know. I guess the documents are still classified. So I don't know what we're going to be getting. I'm sure there's somebody who has more knowledge on the topic than I do that could speak to it.
Let's bring on an alien person.
An alien expert.
You must bring supporting documentation for anything you're going to say.
They're probably in shape. They probably are.
They are probably.
And I was thinking about how fucked up it is that we kill anything that comes to our planet. It's not they're we have a live we're making peace with these people, and oh, here we go, peace treaties. It's we're so afraid of anything that comes in, we're just fucking shoot it down, collect it. Let's investigate and dissect it.
I feel like I'm in an
enemy
Jones movie right now.
Yeah, that's what it's like. And it's I was thinking about how fucked up that is, because what if I went to another planet for some reason, right? Elon Musk's spaceship gets just off course. I wind up on another planet heading to Mars, and I encounter this other alien life form. Do I want them to kill me to dissect me, or just like, bro, this is a mistake. I didn't mean to come here, but now that I'm here, I come in peace. Let me see how you guys are living. And I hope they don't kill me and put me in a museum and dissect me like our government does.
Yeah. I look forward to learning more about aliens.
Yeah. So, John, speaking of aliens, I was out for a run today. My usual.
Turtles are not aliens.
So I saw a turtle. This one was a baby turtle. It was about yay big. He was heading away from the lake. I thought to myself, hang on a second, I could easily pick this turtle up because it's literally, I just palm this motherfucker, like just Michael Jordan palming a basketball. Okay, but it's little. And I was like, John told me not to move turtles going in the other direction because they're going to nest. But I was like, John's wrong because this thing's not old enough to lay eggs. So it must be lost. I was like, I should turn it around into the other direction. Why would it want to cross this big scary road after it crosses the bike path? But then I thought to myself, wait a second. Don't touch wildlife. I'm entering its space. Let me leave it alone. And I did, but I thought about it the whole time. What was I to do, John? Again, should I, because this was a baby, this was not a full grown, should I have picked it up and turned it back to the water? Or should I have let it crawl across the road into the university grounds? What should I have done?
That all depends on the species of turtles, because there are 3 species of turtles in Florida that the adults are this big.
Oh, it's an adult.
Oh, there you go. There you go. I guess it could have been an adult. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
If it was a juvenile cooter or snapper.
We don't talk about that shit after Sound of Freedom, okay?
Cooter? River cooter? Sorry. Pseudomys? I'll call them their scientific names. If they're pseudomys, that would have been a juvenile, and I would have turned it around. But yeah, there are. It's funny too, because like there's 3 species that you commonly find in water: loggerhead musks, stink pots, and
I'm just not going to touch
muds.
it to begin with. I'm not going to touch it to begin with. It's not my place to mess with nature. I tend to leave nature where it is. I'm not trying to fuck with it.
They tend to know what they're doing. The biggest problem is like we have humans everywhere.
Yeah, humans, we are fucking things up. That's why every time I think about helping an animal, I'm like, just fucking leave it alone. It knows what it's doing. This is not Lassie coming to get me. Like, follow me, come on, I'm rescuing Timmy. Like, it's not. Did you just see that video of the deer doing that? The deer went out into the middle of the road, got in front of a car, stopped it. The guy stopped. The deer kept looking at the guy, trying to get the guy's attention. The guy gets out of the car to shoo the deer away. The deer starts to run a little bit, looks back. The guy realizes this deer's trying to get his attention. So he starts following. He left his car, starts following the deer. The deer keeps looking back at this guy. Guy keeps following this fucking deer, follows the deer. Deer's looking back the whole time. So it was all over Instagram. And he crosses through the woods, through yards, comes across a baby deer caught up in, I don't know what it was, maybe like a soccer net or some type of netting, right? Saves the baby deer, gives the baby deer back to the mom, and then the baby deer comes and thanks the guy for it. And he filmed like the majority of this whole event, and I was like, that must feel good. Like that guy's life is fucking complete now.
Mm-hmm. Have you seen the similar one with orca whales?
No, what, the one stranded?
There was one caught in something, and so these orcas came and bothered this boat.
Oh,
so
I did see that. Yeah,
they followed the orcas over to where I think it was the mother was like couldn't move her tail or something.
Like it makes you feel good that like out of all the shitty things humans have done,
like, some animals are still like, help us.
Yeah, help us. Like we're not all bad. Like humans are not all bad. Like we're here to help you. Like communicate to us, animal creatures.
Dude, that octopus teacher, I know I brought it up before, but that was so trippy.
The trick to both of those situations, though, Brandon, if humans didn't exist, neither of those situations.
Yeah, that's 100%. Again, it's only human population. I stand by the fact that I think we're the worst species on this planet.
Yeah, well, duh.
We just fuck everything up.
Yeah, have you seen My Octopus Teacher, Brandon?
No.
You should watch that with the whole family.
That is a trip. Yeah, watch that with the family. That is a trip.
Good. Is it a movie? Yeah, it's a documentary on Netflix about a guy and an octopus.
I think you guys have talked about this before.
It's phenomenal. Mm-hmm. It's really, really good. You should watch it.
Interesting. Well, listen, circling this back to real estate.
Yeah, let's do it.
I'm heading out to Arkansas next week, guys.
Oh, cool.
Nice.
I'm on a hunt. I got a park here. This is now my third one.
Brittany says you've watched it. You obviously were on your phone.
Oh. It's very plausible we watched it.
Well, it was a very impactful movie to you. Sorry, Arkansas.
Listen, sometimes I watch things that I don't want to watch. I bet knowing my wife, we didn't fucking finish it though. That's a given. We probably only watched half of it, couple eppies, and then she's like, "Ah, I'm bored."
It's a movie. It's a movie.
It's a movie. It doesn't matter. Halfway through, she doesn't like it. We're done. You know how many half-watched things we have in our household that I'm not allowed to finish watching because I started it with her, and now I can't finish them.
Yeah, I have a similar situation in my house.
Now I have to sneak shows, John. I'm like sneaking, watching things.
We'll get back to real estate here in a minute. I used to do that so much. So like Shannon would go to bed and be like, all right, time to watch my sci-fi action stuff that I can't watch with her. I am getting to the point where I'm old. I'm like, I gotta go to bed. Like I can't stay up watching shit.
I was trying to watch Quarterback over the weekend, and Brittany was watching it. And the whole time I'm trying to watch it, I'm like, great, she's watching it. Now I'm not going to be allowed to watch it if she's not around. I had to go up in my daughter's room, and me and my daughter were laying on the floor. My like 1-year-old, she's playing, and I'm watching like Patrick Mahomes on Quarterback, just trying to finish this 8 docuseries, and I'm like, let me finish this. Anyway, yeah, I'm going out. So this is my third one. I thought this was an interesting topic. And I've said it before, but like the amount of people backing out of deals. So like I'm not even doing any marketing. This is all like just me. This is all free marketing. I've spent $0 on my mobile home park searching. I haven't bought data. I found it like nothing, right? This is just me using my smartphone, and it's my smartphone dialer and on Facebook. And so I found this guy on Facebook, and like I missed him, right? Like I missed it. It was a seller posting, I have a park, I just want to sell it. I'm in North Carolina, like this is in Arkansas. Who wants to buy it? And like you know, just
even said your state.
Yeah, just like, bro, just a list of people just bombarding this guy. And so by the time I got to it, he was under contract, and he's like, well, we're supposed to close at the end of the month. He's like, give me a call or message me, because we were messaging on Facebook. So today's the end of the month pretty much. So I message him, and I posted it on Instagram. He's like, oh shit, dude, like I got you mixed up with someone else. I meant to tell you, like they didn't close me, like they backed out. And so now this is like what, the third or fourth one? This may be the fourth, because there's 3 others I think I'm chasing that have buyers that are like waffling. And the one we know of is a wholesaler, right? That I've talked about a couple times.
Yeah.
But it's like, it just boggles my mind.
Yeah.
Like, and I feel bad for some of these sellers. It's like bro, if you can't take it down, like you can't take it down. Like don't put it under contract. Like you should know if your money's lined up. You should know if the numbers make sense to you, just on the basis. Like it's what I always told like my buyers whenever like you're looking at a fixer upper on the wholesale side. They'd be like, well, I need to see it before I could tell you what I would pay. Listen, bro, here are the pictures. It's not getting any better when you go in. Okay, like it's not. You're not going to go into this thing and go, "Oh my God, this is a gem." It's gonna get worse. So it's like, so if that's the case, man, like just make your worst case scenario offer to me, and if it makes sense, well, you know, we at least have something to work with. Yeah. And it's the same thing. Like the numbers aren't getting better. You're not going to go in and uncover like there's $5,000 of hidden rents that this guy didn't know about. Like. So anyway, this guy, they backed out. So I'm looking at his park. I'm going to meet him out there next week. And I have a bunch of all the other ones I'm negotiating. I'm driving around to them from Wednesday to Sunday. I'm going to be looking at like, I've got a list of like 10 parks I'm going to that I've been talking to.
That's awesome.
But
super exciting trip.
We'll see how it goes.
Are you going to the one with the bunker? Is that one gone?
I go there every week.
Okay.
Not every week, I'm sorry. But every time I go there, I go see the couple, because we're friends now. We have each other's cell phones. Like we're sharing info about parks. So I'll go see them when I get in. I usually pop in. I'm allowed. I am of the status now where I don't even need to knock at the front door. I've been invited to the back door, which is where, you know, friends and family go to, knock on that, which they keep open because their house is in the park. So the back door is where like the tenants or their friends will come to because they're in the kitchen all the time. So she has told me that I am of the status to do that. So I look forward to just
congrats
knocking and asking them, are you ready to sell yet?
Yeah.
Hopefully.
with a bunker, dude. That'd be pretty. I mean, I remember you
bunker would be
explaining
sweet.
that property. It sounds
That'd
pretty
be
cool.
sick.
Yeah, he's right next to mine. Yeah, it's a nice little property. So anyway, I just think it's something that like there's more and more people, I think, and then the guy, I don't know who I was talking to if I said this on the podcast, but the guy who's waffling because interest rates are so high. But the realtor's confused because he said, well, he should have known that before he signed and executed an offer, what rates were, and that's not an excuse to try to renegotiate or to back out. And that's why the sellers are nervous and why I was going into a backup offer situation. I talked to him the other day.
Yeah.
And that's the case, bro. You didn't know
Right.
what
No,
rates were.
they're a
Like, you didn't
wholesaler.
do your due diligence. That's what I was thinking too, but I can't find that park on any of the wholesale sites.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
So trust me, I always look, dude. I'm all over those motherfuckers.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited for that trip. We'll have to figure out. I'm also out next Friday, so maybe Carlos and I have to do something on Thursday next week. Do a little.
Yeah. We'll
do a
figure it
little.
out.
We'll
Maybe
figure it
I
out.
should do an on the road show where we're walking through a mobile home park.
That'd be pretty intriguing.
Bring
Yeah.
one of the tenants on.
Where I
Yeah.
pop into some of these parks where the guy's not picking up for him, and be like, hey, remember that time you said I could stop in? Surprise, motherfucker. You haven't been picking up for me. Now I'm here.
I'm
Let's
a
walk
real
this
person.
I'm a real person. Let's walk this fucking park.
Uh-huh.
Well, I think some of them do need to see me, like that guy I'm negotiating with. I'm going to go see his park just because, like, I feel like it's kind of what Tyler said. Like, some of these guys, like, I think I can negotiate over the phone, do a lot of it over the phone. But some of them, I think I got to be there in person to push them over the edge. I've been working with that guy for, like 4 months, 3 months now? Just be like, dude, I'm out at your park. Let's meet.
Yeah.
I'm here.
I mean, that's how. The park you currently have. Did you meet the guy before he signed the contract?
That was Tyler, and Tyler said,
Oh, that's right. Wow.
It's a long story, but ultimately the first deal Tyler did with him, he had the same problem I'm having with this guy up in North Arkansas, where it's like negotiate everything, but getting him to say yes and finalize paperwork. He's like, so he partnered with somebody, the guy went, met him, got paperwork signed on site. And I feel like that's what I'm going to have to do with this guy up in North Arkansas.
Yeah. I mean, it's all about building relationships when you're seeking A, seller finance, and B, doing deals this big.
He's going to be financing a $1.1 million note over 12 years with me. We're going to be doing a lot of business together, so he's going to have to like me. So.
Yeah. Well, just go do your magic. You got this. Carlos, looks like your ACL pain pills are taking a toll on you right now.
Are they? Yeah, maybe.
I've never seen you this tired in my life.
A little bit, yeah. Percocet or whatever it is a hell of a drug. It helps with the pain now.
I
You're
bet
good,
it
dude.
does.
Yeah.
Well, if you would have self-healed, you wouldn't need pain pills. Let me just remind you, as I reminded my daughter.
That's the
when she
path of
injured
least
herself,
resistance, though.
I didn't take pain
Self-healing
pills
is the
when I tore
path-
my ligaments.
Self-healing is the path of least resistance, though.
I'm just saying I didn't need painkillers. My painkiller was my mind.
He had somebody with a knife go into his body.
Brandon Pedersen, hardest man alive ever.
Just throw that out there. Anyway, guys.
We're wrapping this up. I have a movie recommendation for everybody. Don't go see Indiana
Barbie?
Jones.
Oh.
Barbie.
I thought he was going to recommend Barbie. I don't know. I just felt like that was a John thing. He was recommending Barbie.
No, I haven't seen Barbie.
Indiana Jones. I'm not going to go see Indiana Jones. The old ones were classic, but they're just fucking everything up nowadays.
It's better. I think it was better than the
I'm just
Alien
over it.
one.
I'm just fucking over it.
But it was the same thing. It was the same things all over with a weird twist at the end. I won't ruin in case somebody wants to see it.
it's
But I
just
got
like, whatever,
bored.
dude.
I got bored.
You shouldn't during Indiana Jones. Like, they're just fucking movies up. Marvel's making too many movies. Disney's fucking their movies. You hear Disney's making Snow White, but instead of falling in love and marrying a prince and the Seven Dwarfs and all that, it's about her taking over the kingdom, becoming the leader she's supposed to be. I'm like, guess what? That's not Snow White then. Make another movie. That's not Snow White.
Okay.
Like, that's just not Snow White, bro. Like, if you're going to remake Snow White, you remake Snow White. You don't make another movie.
You need to go read the original fairy tales.
No, you can't say that because if I did that, the majority of Disney's movies based on the original stories they did, some of them are like horror stories.
I know, that's my
But
point.
again,
So if you're telling me that they can't remake it, well, they remade it from the original story anyways.
That's not what I'm saying. They're remaking it based on the audience they had on the original movie. It's like, just make another movie. Make another movie about a young girl who gets kicked out by her stepmother, blah, 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 and then comes back and takes
they
over.
Actually make original movies.
Yeah, Pixar's good.
Mm-hmm. They have an Alien movie coming out, I think, at the end of summer.
Anyway.
Looks pretty funny.
We'll see.
All right, guys. Well,
Lock and load.
Carlos, heal up this weekend. I know you got some recovery ahead of you. I would have gotten surgery as well, just so that we can all relate to who's on whose side here. But hope you feel better, dude.
Oh, I'm good. Thanks.
Still
I
feel
appreciate it.
It's okay.
Oh, geez,
good.
Brandon. All right, guys. We'll see you next week.
Lock and load.